Good morning and welcome to the morning edition of Q&A. I'm Vegas from Tamriel Foundry, and today I have some new PvP footage from last night, the other day. So it'll play? Alright, it's playing. Excellent. Yep, you guys are right on time. We're just starting. I do have a couple pre-submitted questions, but I think they're the same as yesterday's. I just uploaded the recording late. Except for, and I do have one new one though. And then we also have some leaked patch notes. I'm not going to talk about the... And I'm only going to talk about the leaked ones just to cover myself. What were the balance changes? I'm not gonna go into what a lot of the balance changes are, just to cover my own butt, really, until there's actually the next beta invites go out, whenever those are. So yeah, so the first couple. I'm going to go over these questions that I got. I think a bunch of them are from yesterday as well, but people may not have missed them, or they may not, or something. So first we got is, what bonus does the lever provide? Is it spell resistance, or how much? It's flat it's flat damage reduction from spells. It's not actually spell resistance. How much, I'm not actually sure. Coming Tuesday, probably? I'd like to see it Tuesday. But, yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see it Tuesday, though. I think that'd be cool. Because I really like how much larger the population is in Cyrodiil on the weekend tests. Would you consider 5 heavy 2 light armor to be a best setup for an Imperial DK tank built for PvP? It depends on your build. Is cost reduction really capped at 25%? So I've been looking at how people got to 25%, and they've I think what they've done is they've just added up all the cost reduction that is available on a combination of light armor and then Breton and stuff. All those cost reductions added up, and that's around 25%. And I don't think that actually counted cost reduction on gear, because that is a static number that is available for you, and it's not found on jewelry. So it might be higher. It might not actually be capped, like what I initially thought. But then people are like, it's 25%. So we'll see. I haven't actually gotten to double checking it myself, because I've been too busy doing Q&As. More stamina to DK based bruiser viable, say with Redguard instead of Breton. Also, is there a soft cap for stamina regen? There is a soft cap for stamina regen. I think, I don't remember offhand. Where is my notes? Where are my notes? Ah, there they are. Notes. Stamina regen caps at... start soft capping at 80. I do think that Redguard is actually a pretty okay race if you do stamina heavy things, like use a lot of combat maneuvers, like tanking, or a lot of weapon skills, which currently isn't very popular, but because of the Redguard racial is extra recovery outside of the soft caps. How much does it cost to respec all your attribute points at level 50? It's somewhere around 12,000. Something like that. How easy is it? Soft cap weapon damage at 50 for dual wield? It depends on how good your weapons are. It could be. It could be, it really just depends on how good your weapons are. Alright. Has anyone tried to reach a hard cap? Soft cap seems to be for 1 stat point. I have found 1 hard cap, and that's the hard cap for armor. But the other ones I haven't found anything on. Does whoever the Emperor is have anything that indicates his location on the entire map? Nope. Or is there any other mechanic to encourage your entire... there isn't either. There's the only reason why you would form a giant Blobzerg is safety in numbers. And that's just generally what people will do if they're not like the best players, is find other players to be safe with. But there isn't anything that actually like actively encourages or like hints towards blobbing up, which is great because is there a cap to weapon spell damage too? I'm sure I'm assuming you're referring to just like the spell damage stat, which I'm assuming there is a weapon slash spells. Weapon skills are based off of your weapon damage, so those would use the same cap because it's still weapon like your weapon damage cap. But things that benefit from spell power would use the spell power cap, which I don't know what that is at all. I haven't even soft capped my spell power. I haven't really messed around with the stat. I do not remember what I said on TeeShowcast. I think it was mostly like PvP impressions, unless Quent. So if you want to hear stories about our exploits on the weekend, the most recent weekend test, or just like general PvP impressions and stuff. Do you need to wear light armor in order to use the light armor ability? No, you don't need to use the armor type to use the armor ability. In this footage, I'm using a movable, but I only have 2 pieces of heavy. Oh, but I could use 7 pieces. In other footage that I have and have shown, I've had 7 pieces of light on, and I've still been able to use the movable. Do boss fights take significantly longer at higher levels? It seems like the first dungeon bosses die just as it gets fun. Yes, from my experience, the higher level bosses do take longer, particularly in like the very top end dungeons. Do mages skill abilities use Magicka or Stamina? They use Magicka. Isohead has those listed incorrectly. I hate my monitor. I'm back to my monitor. Alright, sweet. How hard is it to soft cap spell resistance playing as a heavy armor Imperial DK? Does it require a combination of Munda Stones, set spell resist, light armor, enchant, spell resist traits to reach it, or is it enough to do some of them? You can start hitting the cap pretty easily with just like a good mix of light and heavy armor, because but you could need to use like all of the sources to start pushing more towards the like the hard cap for spell resist. Question about the Nightblade ability Vanish. I'm assuming you're talking about Shadow Cloak. Is it possible to use it while engaged in someone in PvP to get out of combat, to be crouched right after, in order to gain stealth? I don't know if it affects your detection, but I wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised either if it went either way. I think I could see them doing both. It's not something I've run into though. When you destroy guilds with more than 50 members, where do the items of their guild bank go? They still have access to their guild bank. They just can't access it from the keep. They can only access it from the regular guild store. Yes! With a level 50... do you feel you're almost unkillable in PvE or PvP? Well, as I just bombed a flag, no. I can still do dumb things and die. I do think that they have a lot of extra survivability if your build is good, and I do think it's much higher than Nightblade, or most Nightblades at least. Sorks just have like a lot of extra mobility, so they have their own way of living excessively. Yeah, no, all betas, like the long-term server and the regular weekend servers, will be wiped before launch. You won't be able to keep any of these characters because it doesn't work in PvE. Oh, if it doesn't work in PvE, then I would expect it to work the same in PvP. That would make sense. What is the 3 ability when I have my staff out? That is Impulse, morph to Pulsar. I'm gonna die again. Yes! Erlex! Erlex, come heal me! How fast is leveling in PvP compared to PvE? I don't know, because they... currently though, at least last time I checked, it was much slower. How powerful? Alright, yeah. How powerful can spell resist enchants be on a single piece of armor? How much of a boost? Maybe you haven't seen the. So spell resist enchants. I think it's like. Okay. Is it really? I didn't see that one. So yes, they did just buff the PvP experience. I don't know by how much, but it is. Yeah. Spell resistance chance. It's like 500 if you do all spell resistance for like the very best you can get, and it's something like 1250 for like the of a specific element. What times do I stream, roughly? Generally, it'll be, like, around this time, 9 AM Pacific. And then I don't know what I'm going to end up doing with my evening show, because I kind of need more time to get stuff done on Tamriel Foundry, because there's a bunch of other projects that we need to get finished before launch. What is on my footage now? No, those are actually just guards. No body enemies, just guards. How comparable is DPS if for dual wield versus two-handed? It depends. I think dual wield has more sustained DPS. I think dual wield has and two-handed has a more bursty DPS. How fast is the dual wield heavy attack? How fast is the dual wield heavy attack? It's like once every 2.5 seconds. It's if someone captures an Elder Scroll, they have to run it back to a keep that does not already have a captured Elder Scroll in it, right? What happens if you kill the guy, the carrier? It goes back to the original keep. You have to run that sucker back. It falls on the ground, and you have to run it back. But you do have to run it back. But keeps can only scrolls can only put in keeps in your home territory, so you can't run it in like the nearest keep. You have to put it in something back in your territory. What changed the game since the last February stress test? I'm not going. There are some leaked. There are some leaks from a recent patch, but I'm not going to go over them until they're actually available in public. If you want to look for them, you can go find them, but I will only have a couple leaks that I'll go over. Because those are the ones that I just found. Does Max Magica affect your spell resistance at all? No, it doesn't. Max Magica only affects your spell damage. It doesn't affect your regen or your spell resist. What weapon would you most recommend for an Imperial tank built for PvE, or PvP rather, mostly group based? Whatever weapon is good for your build. It's more of things that it depends on what you prefer. Like I know a lot of Dragon Knights that go like Resto Destro. I don't actually like Restoration Staff. I do really like using Sword and Shield. But if I altered my build at all, I would probably... I don't know what other weapon I'd use, but I would take... If I was going to not use Sword and Shield, I would still like fit Reflective Scales onto my build somewhere. In what kind of situations would you use a Destruction Staff instead of a one-headed shield in PvP? Ranger. In what situations would I use I would use... It's more of what I wouldn't use it. I think I would use a bow. So that's worded really. And what kind of situations would you use a Destruction Staff instead of a one-headed shield in PvP? The range of most of the abilities seems quite limited. Yes, they are quite limited. The main reason why I use the Destruction Staff is for like running up to a whole like groups of people, because it has really good, really strong close range AoE. So when we have like a decent group of people, decent being like 6 to 8, we can kill significantly more people than we have because of the strong close to range Destruction Staff AoE. And because we're all closed up, it makes it easier for people using Restoration Staffs to heal because of Grant Healing. Will it dissolve a guild? Will the, Oh, it's when you dissolve a guild. I thought it was when you, like, cap someone else's keep. No, I misread that. I don't know what happens when you dissolve a guild. What... I think everything... I don't know what happened to the guild bank. I don't think it'll let you, My guess is it wouldn't let you, dissolve a guild with stuff in the guild bank. And I think everything in the store would go back to the person that posted it. That would be my guess. How much lower is your damage when using a one-handed shield compared to a dual-wielder staff? I think my light attacks hit for like about 40 less than my dual wield. They did just change the I said I want to talk about notes. Oh, I'm halfway through something. They did just change some of the numbers for staff, light and heavy attacks. So I don't know what's going on there, but it's a bit lower, but it's not like horribly low. Can Destruction Staff, light / heavy attack be reflected by defensive stance? Yep. It's funny. Just anything that you can spell reflect is funny. How high have you been able to get or seen someone else get their weapon / spell damage stat? I think I've gotten mine somewhere up to around... Did I still have that open? I don't still have that open. Whatever. I think I've gotten mine up to somewhere around like 189 is I think the highest I've gotten my weapon damage, and my spell damage hasn't really moved a whole lot. Do you know during the last stress test we were all playing on the US server or both of them? I think all players were on the US server. What are the differences between sword, dagger, axe, and mace when you're using a shield or dual wield? They don't actually have a damage difference. The damage difference is just going to be based on the quality of the weapon. When you're using a shield, it actually doesn't matter what other weapon you're using. But when you're dual wielding, you will have bonus effects based on what kind of weapon you are using, and those are all listed in the Twin Blade and Blunt passive. Axes cause bleed, maces ignore armor, daggers give you crit, and swords just give you a flat damage increase. Is it possible to get a heated long-term beta? Nope, it's extremely limited on who they've added to the long-term survey testing. Is a dual-wield sorcerer viable? Yes, I would recommend looking up Atropos' build on our new class forums. He has... I will post it in the chat for you. Is healing to get so easier or harder than healing as a combat medic? And I don't know, Erlax. Healing question. I don't know if you're still here. What do you think about Whirlwind as another source of AoE damage as a PvD? I know some PvP DKs that really like Whirlwind. I don't like Whirlwind, but I don't do wield in my PvP build, so... Yeah, the 500 is really wishful thinking. I think that's just like a generic slider they put on there just to like... as an example. I don't know. Do you know what will be available in the in-game shop? It should only be visual stuff. It'll probably be like visual stuff, maybe like race change or something. I don't see them putting like actual in-game things in there that have any effect on your character, because I know inventory slots are viable with gold and stuff. So, and they already have enough hit on them, so I don't think they're gonna do anything like stupider with that. But I mean, look at Blizzard. Blizzard has all sorts of shit in their shop, but those are all like pets and stuff. So there's pets and mount. If it's pets and mounts, yeah, sure, it's still triple tipping, but it's whatever. You're just giant dicks. That's all. PM question about a quick question about armor glyphs. Do you know what kind of effects are available for armor glyphs? I was mostly curious about whether or not you would be only able to add attribute glyphs on your armor, or if you could add other effects such as reducing resource costs. So on your actual armor pieces, you can only get health, magicka, and stamina. All the other extra things, like extra armor, extra spell resist, reduced spell cost, extra regen, those are all limited to your jewelry slots. TF shouldn't be down. No, it's still up. So I think it'll be just down for you. Yeah, it's working fine. So the jewelry slots are really vital about what and really limited on what enchants you can get on them. Those are where the most flexibility is. So that's where like a lot of the hard decisions will be as to what you want on your jewelry, because they're so limited. Do armor and jewelry enchants run out of charges or only weapons? It's just working. It's just working. It's just weapons. Armor and jewelry will degrade as like you die and you get hit, but they don't run out of charges. Yeah, that's my understanding as well, Berniri, is that it's just going to be service stuff, so like, you know, race change, server transfer if they had servers, but no, they don't have servers. And I know that you can just play on both EU and NA by just like changing a setting somewhere. I think they said that, so it's just you can't like move the characters between EU and NA unless they have that as a service. That'd be interesting. But yeah, it should just be services and Imperial, because we do know that the Imperial pack will still be available after launch. They have said that. It's in the Imperial Edition FAQ. I think that would be like an interesting service for them to have, for like be able to move a character from EU to NA or NA to EU. Can you craft jewelry? No, you cannot craft jewelry. You can only craft armor or weapons. Jewelry are going to be like, because you can't craft jewelry, and because they're so, like, they have all the really, really good enchants on them, I think the jewelry is going to be, like, the hugely important slots. You can actually, you can set up 2 siege weapons and run back and forth. Yes, you can actually do 3, I just didn't have enough space. Would you say a two-handed melee sword would be viable? Yep, I would say that it is viable. You just need to come up with a good build for it. What's your favorite armor style? I haven't decided yet. There is a lot of options. And I haven't seen several of them in-game yet either. Do you know if Evasion and Blur stack together? Yep, they stack together. Benefactor actually tested that out to make sure. When you finish your Native Alliance campaign, you get an ability to go to another Alliance campaign. During this, the complexity of fights increase because all mobs are leveled up to 50. Do they up the territory you have? Do they up on the? I'm just gonna see if you mean does the level on your native territory increase as well? No, that doesn't increase. That's still gonna be like tuned for 1 to 50, but like the veteran level questing areas, those will they do have like. Not necessarily like a lot of the veteran dungeons are more complex, but the actual fights themselves are from the stories, from the story quests are the same. They're just tuned much harder. Where is this keep located at? This is Nickel Outpost. It's between Fort Ash and Castle Robeck. It's on the western side of the map. Can jewelry be broken down using crafting? No. Talking about armor styles, can you get all the motifs, the special ones as well from everywhere, or are they only found 50 plus and 50 plus plus content from somewhere else? I think you can get them anywhere. I'm not entirely sure. I think it might depend on the style, but I think all of the racial ones will be available in normal, and then I think like the special ones, the advanced ones, will be available in at least 50 plus and plus plus. Are allies damaged by siege damage? Allies are not damaged by your own siege weapons, but yeah, allies are not damaged by your own siege weapons. What are the viable tank builds you've experienced in dungeons? A lot of them, because I have a really good pocket healer, so I can do really silly things. But I've probably done a lot of builds that I wouldn't generally recommend. I will, as soon as I get time, so probably as soon as I get time, I'll be posting up a couple. Well, I'll be posting up some Dragon Knight builds, but they won't all be for tanking. I have a couple different roles to fill, but yeah. Do you know when the devs will be talking about Adventure Zones? I wish I knew when they talk about Adventure Zones. I want to know more about Adventure Zones. They've been super tight-lipped about it and haven't said anything. Is it difficult to sell your goods to other players without the auction house? Not really. I wouldn't say that it... yeah, no, I think there'll be stuff like trading guilds, and probably like trading farms will also be a huge thing. So I don't think it'll be hard. It just won't be like as easy, which I think is fine. I don't like the fact that it's a mega server. Having that many players in one auction house is probably not actually a good thing for the economy. I like that it's split up. I like that it's more player interaction based with like straight up trading.
Thank you for participating in this Aperture Science computer-aided enrichment activity. Goodbye.
Alright. So I've managed to rig up some leaked patch notes. There's some really interesting things in here. I can't get into details, so like the buffs and nerfs to class abilities, can't go over those. I'll go with the main ones. The main one that I think is really interesting, and you may have noticed in some of this footage with the guards, is collision detection with NPCs. So you can no longer walk through NPCs. I think this is... it does some really interesting things. I haven't tried it in a dungeon. I know you can still roll through them, apparently, as some people have said, but I do think that it's a really late time to put this kind of decision in, but I also think that it's kind of cool. So, because it just went in, it remains to be seen like how. Yeah, it's so late that it's crazy. Right? Yeah, it's like, I was like, okay, you've gone through, you know, a year and a half of testing and you know, how much year of free time, and then it's just, and collision. Okay. Sure. What, okay. It changes all sorts of things. Alright. They also... So yeah, you can now skip the starter island and go back and go straight to the first city. You can port back to the starter island if you want. I think that's an interesting change. I think that's more for the people that were complaining about that you get stuck on this starter island, and then it feels like it's this really small thing. Now it just dumps you into your first large zone, but I haven't actually seen how that lines up. I don't know if it like directs you back to the starter island with the quests, because that's where that's like how the story progresses, or how that's going to end up working out. I think I do mostly like it if it's implemented correctly. Alright, and now I'm behind on questions, because those are the big things in there. Mob difficulty increased slightly starting at level 5. Yeah, that's cool. Alright, where are we on question? We're way up here. Do you think they'll scale the difficulty for adventure zones for only those who completed 50++ content? Yes, I do think that. I think there'll be, like, specifically for max level, max rank people. It does direct you back to the starter island? Okay, that's cool. That's good. I'm fine with that. I'm significantly less worried about it if it, like, you know, you wake up in Vukolgard as a Eldmeri, and it's like they point you back to Khenarthis for some reason. I don't know. I haven't done it yet. I have a Templar who is like standing in that room that you wake up. I haven't done it. Behind on things. How do I feel like Collision did that? How does the Nightblade Shadowline ultimate work? Can you like go in and out of stealth? It makes you invisible as long as you're standing in the circle. So if you go like in and out of the circle, it should keep making you invisible. Can you tell us the key abilities that make PvP DK and why you chose DK as a main? I've chose DK as my main before I knew anything about the skills that it had. I mean, I'm talking like when Dragon Knight was announced, I'm like, yep, this is the class I'm playing. And I haven't changed my opinion. I am incredibly happy with the class. A couple key abilities make PvP DK. It depends on your build. It really does depend. I think that probably the corest ability of any DK build is probably Dragonblood, because it is an incredibly strong self-heal. Is being crowned Emperor a huge buff for you and your faction? Do you gain access to the Imperial City after you're crowned? It is a huge buff for your faction, but they have not done anything with the Imperial City yet. It is locked out. The buff for having an Emperor for your faction is 5 health per level? So yeah, it's like 300 health for having an Emperor in your faction. Does it worry that adventure zones will be largely untested when they go live? A little bit. I hope it doesn't end up being another SWTOR where it's like, yep, we didn't let the beta testers test these at all. So hopefully that doesn't end up happening. Talking about islands. I think like the mix of collision and not collision is really weird. I think there's not collision in PvP, so that doesn't end up like war, where you just have like people standing in a doorway that you can't kill, and then people behind them like killing you. I think that's how it ended up. I never actually played Warhammer Online. So I think the no collision in PvP is a good thing, but the collision, the fact that you still collide with guards and stuff, it's funny. I think it's like, we'll need to play with it a bit longer and like actually see what happens in the next beta weekend. Can you guess roughly how many repair kits it takes to repair a wall? 100. 100 repair kits to repair a wall. It's 1% per kit. What is your favorite zone to play in? Reapers of March. It's a really late Eldmeri zone. I think my next favorite might actually be Rivenspire, which is the 3rd DC zone. Other than crafting, how can a person get a legendary item? You can't. They're only from crafting, as far as we know. Can I comment on how archery feels, and have I seen the archery skill lines? I think archery feels really good for the most part. There are a couple skills that I don't like, but people that do use bows really like. So I think archery's in a good spot. It's also super annoying to casters. Really, really, really annoying to casters if you have the correct morphs. When the game goes live, what race and playstyle are you building your DK? Currently, my race decision is Redguard, but that's like a toss-up between Breton and Imperial as well. And then what playstyle? Playstyle for PvE, a tank, easily. I've played tank for 7 years. That's my thing. For PvP, PvP is like a much more freeform thing where you can just kind of do stuff that works, and it'll be whatever the meta dictates. Because I think there will be a meta. And I do think that meta is starting to form, so. Will crafting let us make gear that is more for our peers? I don't, do you mean just like a, you know, a nice dress? I don't think that's available. I think it's all like standard racial style stuff like you would find in regular Elder Scrolls games. As soon as it's possible to use like incentive shrines or is it possible to basic builds? Bez's DNA. I would actually recommend that you look up at our class impressions articles. Those are like some really good basic. Oh, I guess that's just basic info on the skills, and not like basic builds. Basic builds are really hard to do because that's not really like what we're going for on TF. We're going for endgame stuff. So like, yeah, you can kind of do whatever for like a bit, like while you're leveling, but that's not our focus. Could you fill the door with mercenaries and use it like a wall? You probably could do that now. That is probably a thing. Are you gonna play an Argonian DK in 80? No. Argonian is a terrible race. The racials are the only good racial they have is the increased healing received, and other than that, they're terrible. Are the main cities in the game like Bruma, Kvatch? Yes, I believe. Yeah, they're all available in some form. Yeah, they're all available in some form in Cyrodiil, if that. There's no skill for Vampire Feed listed on the skill, and how is it done? Can't talk about that. Not allowed to talk about that. Has anyone figured out the trade-off for repair kits versus points reward for using them? I don't know, it's like 20 points to use a kit, but a kit costs 300. So, yeah. At least you get some back for repairing, and I think that counts towards like the pool for like defending a keep or something. For the bonus pool. When am I going to finish this up? Probably 45 minutes to an hour from now. About what level am I able to get werewolf? Can't talk about that because it's where I can't go. I can talk about the skills for werewolf and vampire, but I'm not allowed to talk about where you get them at all. Because there's no level you could get them. Well, you could probably figure out what zone it's from. At least. How do you feel the balance is coming along? Do you think there's any big problems with the game right now? I think there are a couple big things, but they are working on addressing them. Can you tell me how durability and armor works in ESO? Can you destroy your armor if you don't repair it? No, items don't get destroyed when you run out of durability. You just get no benefit from them. You literally have like 0 of 300 on a heavy piece of armor. Do you get any physical change? I don't know. I've never actually picked up Vampire because fuck that. Who would win in a fist fight? Probably Erlax. I don't know. Yeah, probably Erlax. It'd be more like a slapping fight, because nerds, but I don't know if Erlax goes to the gym or not. Yeah. How important is spell penetration, and are there Mundus Stone buffs as powerful as any chance? How important is spell penetration? I think spell penetration will be important at some point. I don't see a whole lot of people using it right now, but I do think it'll be important at some point. And the Mundus Stone buffs are about as powerful as enchants on gear stats totaled, as in heavy armor rating equal having all armor rating enchants plus equal Mundus armor buff? No. The Mundus buffs have a static amount that they give. So, let's say for an example, the stone, yeah. No, yeah, no, Erlax would crush me. Oh crap. Okay, yeah, no. Yeah, the Mundus Stone buffs have a static amount that they give, and that needs to be, and it all counts towards like the same soft cap pool for that stat. So it's like needs to be like considered as a core part of your build rather than just something that's there to balance it out. So if you're doing like a light armor tank, you probably want to pick up the Armor Mundus Stone. If you're doing something that has like less points in health somewhere, you probably want to pick up the Health Stone. If you're doing something that's balanced on your gear, but your like skills are crit based, either the Shadow or the Thief Stone would be really good to pick up. Are Veteran Regs tied to story quests, or can you just grind? You can grind it, but that is probably the slowest way of doing it. The story quests are, the VR ranks are tied to the story quests. And that's probably like the most reliable way of getting to, getting through the VR stuff. As well as doing the dungeons. The Veteran rank dungeons. Do armor buffs become half? Buffs do not, just the actual stats on your armor. So like, for example, if your chest piece has 300 armor on it, and it's half damaged, you would only get 150 armor from that chest piece. What Mundus Stone am I using for this build in this video? I am using the Lover Stone right now, because I was actually checking it out, if it gave spell resistance or not for an earlier question. And I do just like the Mundus Stone because it is like flat spell damage reduction. How do you level up your horse? And is stamina or speed better? You level up your horse by going and talking to the Stable Master, and when you're talking to the Stable Master, you have the option of increasing its stamina, its speed, or its carrying capacity. And you can do this once every 20 hours. Currently, because of how horse stamina works, it's better to put all of your points into speed first. So that way you have the speed, and then you can worry about like bag space or stamina later. Because you would use the stamina if you just want to like use it for small bursts and keep like, because when you sprint for the first time, it's slightly faster than just like holding it, but you can hold it indefinitely for like a faster than not sprinting at all. Is the vampire skill line like a lifesteal type. The best thing to get information on what the actual vampire skill line is just go look it up on ESOhead, because I don't know what a lot of the skills are offhand. Guys, you may have missed my answer for that. Buffs do not become halved. It's like per piece of armor. So if you have like an piece of armor that has 300 and it's half damaged, you that piece of armor gives you 150. Have you ever heard devs talking about implementing voice comms in the game later? I don't think I haven't heard anything on that. I think on the consoles, though, it'll most likely just use like the built-in Xbox Live and PSN party voice comms. It wouldn't surprise me if they just use that. Where is the Mage Midas Stone located in Ebonheart? I don't know. Is it relatively easy at max level to get close to 100% spell penetration with just full light armor and dual wielding weapon traits? Do that. Dual wielding doesn't give you spell pen, does it? I will get back to that question. Do you believe tanking light armor with select spec armor viable in adventure zones? In adventure zones, no. In regular dungeons, probably. But not in adventure zones. I think they'll be tuned to be like mega hard, and I think you'll need like pretty standard to tank things, unless either that or you'll need to bring a build that is specific for a fight. Like maybe you're fighting a guy that doesn't hit your armor at all. Maybe it's all spells. Maybe you need to stack as much spell resistance as you can. In which case, then yeah, definitely like a 5 light, 2 heavy thing would be your best option. What was I doing? I was looking up spell resistance. Can you have multiple horses? Yes, you can have. I don't know how many up to many you have, but you can have multiple horses. You can only have one out at a time, though, because the horse is basically like an equipment slot that's available, sort of. So you choose to have like an active horse, and then you can stable a bunch of other horses. What is the most scary build to go up against 1v1? 1v1, I haven't found anything that I'm really terrified against. There are some hard builds, but nothing really 1v1. Also, 1v1 fights are kind of rare. Can you switch armor sets when you switch weapons? No, you can't. You can't. Where is this spell resistant spell pen thing? Spell pen, 15%. A unique mounts in the game / non-horses? Not yet. I hope they do eventually add more. Oops. What is the number 4 skill on my shield loadout and number 5 on my staff? Number 4 on my shield right now is immovable. That's the heavy armor active. It gives you armor and spell resistance, and it makes you immune to all forms of hard CC, so stuns and knockdowns and knockbacks. And that kind of stuff. What 5 on the staff bar is, I need to wait for me to switch back to my staff bar to check. Nope, it's not annulment. I'm not using annulment. I don't like annulment. I actually don't think I have the skill point spent in annulment. It is, immovable, the heavy armor active. Yeah. I need to switch back to my... Oops. Switch back to my staff, because I don't actually remember what my 5 is. It should be... What is the 5 on that bar? Is it the same skill? Why do I have it on different slots? Okay. Well, I don't know why I have it on different buttons on different bars. Okay, that makes no sense. But yeah, no, it's immovable. Spell penetration. Okay, someone was asking about spell penetration, and I don't think that it's really easy to capture spell pen, but I think there might be enough sources where you can get a really high amount from it. And I don't think that'll be. I think that'll be like just like a meta gearing decision, where when people start stacking a whole bunch of spell penetration to like go over spell resistance, I think people will start using more armor. Like more like heavier armor and stuff, just to kind of make that spell resistance that they're using. Yes, Dark Talons are definitely on different bars too. What the hell was I thinking? I don't even. I think Dragon Blood is on different bars as well, because if Immovable is on 5 on my staff bar, and it's Dragon Blood is 5 here. I think I have Dragon Blood and Immovable switched around. Yes, this is in Cyrodiil, yes. Yeah, we don't we don't question what I do with the bars, Relax. They just know that I do really well for you. I'll get to that long question in a second, Downlord. Do you know more details about how grouping is actually going to work at the start of the game? I heard you get a questionnaire, so PvPers get one. So, I haven't actually heard anything about the questionnaire in a long time. I think I do know that it does try to place you with people in your guild and your friends list. So, and I do know that's one way of how it tries to group your things, but I don't know what a lot of the other, like, things that decide what kind of, like, channel it places you and what kind of other players you get placed with. Can a ranged caster do enough damage to dispatch heavily armored characters before they reach them? Depends what class you are. I don't think it depends on what class you are and what build you're using. I think if you're a sorcerer, yeah, probably. You can probably, unless they're running a charge. Or a spell reflect. Alright, so I'm trying to figure out which combination of armor passives, Mudstone, enchants, and bracelet to get the most stats. Example, armor cap plus magicka. And then attack power or spell power to be viable for a certain role. 7 light plus armor chance plus armor Mudstone plus Nord or heavy plus magic chance plus spell pen plus Altmer. There are a lot of variables, and it's really hard for me to answer that kind of thing in a live chat, because I need to, like, actually look up the stuff and double check. I would recommend going to the forums of Tower of Foundry, and that's probably, like, a good question for the just generic class forums. Not the specific class forums, just the generic class forums. They might be able to help you out there, because... Nope, don't do that. I've only seen ever DK tanks. Can Templars tank? Are the shields needed to tank? A shield is not required to tank because the main reason why people use shields is for the extra. The main reason why people use shields is for the taunt and the extra armor, but you don't necessarily need to use a shield for the taunt because there's also inner fire in the Undaunted. So. Go forth, lightning! Yeah, there's inner fire in the Daunted, so it's also a taunt. So, like, the shield isn't required, but it's still really... I am hitting myself. Why did I do that? It's still really good. Because you get it's a huge source of armor. It's one of the largest sources of armor available. Ow. Okay. But I wouldn't say that they're required. Although all classes can tank. I have seen sorcerer tanks. I've seen Nightblade tanks. They're all good. They just all do them in different ways. Why can't I run stream lower quality? Because sadly I think either I have a setting wrong or it's because I'm not partnered yet. And because I remember that it used to be that you needed to you were kind of locked into the one quality if they weren't a partner that you were watching, which made me sad. Nemesis, I disagree. Because there are soft caps that are easy to reach, I think your racial choice should be incredibly important. Because you have to take that into consideration in all of your itemization. Because you're going to get this extra amount of X stat, you don't need to gear for it as much, and you could get another stat. So I still think, even though they cap reasonably easily, I think they still need to be still really important to consider. What is this, anyways? I think this is from... What are you from? It is behind my encoder. This is from Balance and Ruin, which is a Final Fantasy VI remix album. So there's some weird things on here. Don't question the music. Just know that it's there. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking last night, Arketh. Normally they line up. I think I just kind of dragged things onto my bar, and they just kind of ended up in places. I've been told that swords have better reach than axes and maces. No, they do have the same reach. I just think that different weapons have different weapon sizes, but the way hitbox detection works, it still counts as the same reach. Can you give some examples of in-game enchanted magnitudes? It would make it a lot easier to know the values of powers and stuff. I think generally with basic white enchants, on a large item, you're going to get like 80 of like health, magic, or stamina, and on a small item, you're going to get, I think it's 30. Roughly. How did you notice your magical levels using your magic? I'm actually in this. Crap, lost the question. I'm actually using 5 pieces of light in this video, so I'm not using all heavy. There's only 2 pieces of heavy on. I'm just wearing like a helmet and chest, so it looks like I'm wearing heavy. But it is a 5 light build, so that's why it's not horrible. So this is Cyrodiil, the only region with a specific thing to do. PvP. Are there other most of the zones are for just like for questing and story-based PvE. But Cyrodiil does have some PvE in it, but it is mostly for PvP. But there is some PvE in it. There's a bunch of caves to explore. There's still all sorts of sky shards. There's the regular cities that you would find in like Oblivion. They're still in here. Argument can be used the other way around. You can still get the other stat from the racing gear from what you need for your build. Yeah, it's basically the flip side argument, but that still doesn't make them any less important. How much health does Red Diamond give you at max level? I want to assume it's around 52, which is about the same as the Redguard racial. Because it seems like a very similar product to the Redguard racial. How do I view Nightblade in PvP? I think they're really, really good at single target focusing. Other than that, they need some buffing, except for like a few very specific builds that I do not know what are actually in them. From almost almost harmless. I'm like not impressed with any of their Nightblades because I fought most of their Nightblades and they're not that good Nightblades. Most of them yeah. Most of the Nightblades of theirs that I've run into, they either spam Teleport Strike or use a bow. In which case they're using Teleport Strike or mostly bow skills. I missed part of a question because chat is it's probably still slightly broken. Yeah, no, what Arca says is correct. It's 20 magic cost flat. It's not a percent. It just takes 20 off the cost. That's what the spell cost reduction glyph does. In your opinion, what is your opinion of the DK spell Molten Whip? I think it's a good melee, like, nuke skill. I'm not too impressed with, I know a lot of people like using the morph that lets it heal you, because I get hit by it all the time, and it hurts. I don't like that morph, personally. I like having the increased spell damage, spell power morph better. Sky shards that only you. Yeah, sky shards or compose your sentence. A sky shard so that you can only see a set for yourself, or if someone else sees and takes it before you. Everyone can see the sky shard, but everyone can also use the same sky shard and they don't disappear. I think so. Somewhere in this footage we have footage of like our group like rolling up to a sky shard that we walked past, and like 3 people get it at the same time. YouTubers mentioned that the quest lines of the AD faction are vastly superior to the other factions. I think that's because when they went through the starter islands, the Aldmeri starter island is vastly superior. I'll agree with that. But I think in terms of quest lines, I think the quest lines themselves, once you get off of the starter islands, are pretty close. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, those. Okay. For Neri, those have actually been nerfed. I think the nerfed values were available in the recent test. So yeah, no, those are definitely not accurate. They were nerfed heavily. Instead of like 27, it's now 6. They were nerfed really badly. How fast is the animation for Bolt Escape? It's pretty quick. It's lightning fast. It's literally lightning fast. It's yeah. Do you have access? You have access to your guild stash when your guild reaches 10 members. Do you know if you keep this access even when your guild member count falls below 10? I actually don't know. I don't know if you keep access or not. I would think you do, maybe. I wouldn't be surprised either way, though. Why does your character have such a massive head? I don't know. As my character's head is actually not small, but the helmet makes it look huge. Helms don't fit Argonians? Nope. And they're also the Argonian style heavy helmet just looks silly. Really, really silly. I'm guessing you value movable over spike armor since you're running immovable. In PvP, yes. I use the movable for the CC immunity, not the armor. It's the not being knocked down and not being stunned that I'm concerned about. The armor is just kind of extra. Do not save. Okay. What affects spell damage? How can you increase it? Spell damage skills, you have a base amount of spell damage based on your level, and then you can also get it on, I think it's on a couple specific sets, but most commonly you're going to get it on jewelry. So your rings, your 2 rings, and your necklace if you want spell damage. Can you also find the Reach Primitive HNL style books as a world drop? Drop in the world and from a specific. So the extra style books, those are all. The extra style books, they'll be found in like, you know, a desk or something, like what you'd find generally like when you're rummaging through things, shit. So like what you would generally find, like, you know, a style material or like a cooking thing. Those are where you would find the books. So heavy sacks, Yeah, heavy sacks. I think they're in chests, desks, nightstands, those kind of things. So pretty much search everything. Can you activate immovable during a CC to break? No, immovable has to be proactive. I don't know. I could probably see that happening, but I don't know if it's going to really do anything. As people in your guild still need to post things to that store. I don't know if other people can post stuff to your store from a keep. What happens when your guild captures a keep? Anything special? No, it just marks it that it's your keep. Which, I mean, guild rivalries? Yeah, sure, they'll probably come after your keep if they don't like you. Care to talk a little bit more about healing? No. But, because I don't really know a whole bunch about healing, but I think Erlex is bringing up his stream shortly after I end, which is probably in like 30 minutes from now. So if you just want to like stick around or go follow, I'll just put it in chat. You might still be around here though. Probably isn't. He will be doing he plays a Templar. He'll be doing more healing questions. He's better equipped to take healing questions, and he'll be starting probably in about half an hour, 45 minutes from now. For Cyrodiil PvP, do you find it more valuable prioritizing AoE over single target spells? For now, yes. Does Livebling also have a good video? Yeah, I think that their podcast on Saturday... Their podcast the other day, I don't remember what day it was, they talked about healing a lot, so... If you're not a Templar, if you're just like a Sorcerer, that's probably a good place to go look. If you're a Templar or just want like general healing impressions, or like starts in like when I'm done. Which should be in about 45 minutes. How am I doing? I'm doing pretty good. I'm trying to make up for not having a show yesterday evening, because I'm using the footage I got from yesterday evening. And also by having like a slightly longer show than usual. What Monostone would you take to activate? Would you activate as a tank? Either the Lover, or the Lord, or what was the armor one? The one for max health, the one for spell damage, spell damage reduction, or the one for armor. When it'll be available for the next open beta really soon. Like, very soon. Within, like, the next week or two, probably. It's also announced that they say it soon. What happens if you don't feed your horse? Does it die? No. It can't die, it just kind of sits there. The feeding the horse is just to actually upgrade it. So, does a meteor count as a projectile? I don't know if meteor counts as a projectile. I don't think it does. I just think it kind of falls on you. Target enemy. It might be a projectile, though. If it is a projectile, I will giggle. It'll be silly, because then it'll be reflectable, and then there'll be very, very sad people. Very sad people. In PvE, as a tank, do you get more damage through your spells or through physical strikes? When I'm tanking in PvE, most of my damage is from physical strikes, because I keep my bar out with things that help me live. So, I don't really bring a whole lot of damaging spells when I'm tanking in PvE. I bring a whole lot of survivability things. And control abilities as well, but yeah. In Cyrodiil, will there be a ladder system eventually? If your guild does well in a campaign where your guild face more competitive guilds? No, it's not like Guild Wars 2 where that happens. I think what will end up happening, though, is competitive guilds will probably eventually start congregating into specific campaigns. I think that's something that will happen, but no, I don't think there'll be like an actual like set ladder. Yeah, yes, that's right. The lady is armor. It's also, I think, the lady is one of like the very first stones that you find for all of the factions. Because I know it's definitely the first one you find for Aldmeri as well in Auradon. Do mounts have a max for each stat, or is there a total number of times you can feed it? I will have a good answer for that for you tomorrow. And by that, tomorrow evening, rather. Because my horse right now is 49, and we have two theories on that. So you can see it's 49 here. We have two theories on that. Either it caps at level 50, or it caps when one of the why do I have one carrying capacity on that? What the hell? What the hell? Anyway, either it caps when your horse gets to level 50, or you can get all of the stats to 100. Those are my two theories. Have I used Dragonfire scales and what Sorks nearly killed himself? I haven't used Dragonfire scale. I do use defensive posture from Sword and Shield all the time. And yes, I have watched Sorks kill himself with that. And it is very enjoyable. Does bonus bag storage from the horse works all the time if you use another horse which has max speed? No. The bonus bag space from the horse, it only works if you're using that current horse. This was really dumb. Yeah, I was like, let's get this one guy, and then the rest of them come down with the resource, and I get fucked. Is base spell resistance only from leveling up, or does it include the Breton racial? The base spell resistance is only included from leveling up. So if you're a Breton, you'd have base spell resistance, which is 1100. Plus the Breton, which is 300, so you'd have 1400. And then plus, you know, any light armor you're wearing, or if you're a Dragon Knight, or if you're a Templar. Can you respec one or two skill morphs at a time, or only all the skills? Unfortunately, it's respec all the skills at the same time. It's painful when you get a lot of points, but yeah, it's all or nothing. My helmet looks like an owl. It's supposed to be kind of like an eagle, I think. It's an Altmer style, so it's supposed to be like the Dominion eagle. For the next beta session, do we need new keys? No. They have said that they will be inviting back all previous beta testers. They said that in a Twitter response to someone. So, you know, once you have like a key applied to your account, you're flagged as a beta account and will have access. Can your horse be dead? No, your horse can't. Your horse can't die. Even if you don't feed it, it just kind of sits there. And it doesn't have like health or anything, so. Pros/cons of being in a small guild in Cyrodiil? I think this is more pros/cons of being in a small guild in general. I think I do like being in a small guild because I like that it's, you know, more tight-knit. I like that you actually know everyone in your guild. I do feel like general player quality is significantly higher. So, in terms of like just in Cyrodiil, I think it's the amount of times that like as a proven fact, I've seen small groups of like 8 people or like between like 4 and 12 people take out numbers much larger than them. I do think that higher like player skill balance and more coordination definitely helps out. But I think it just like depends on how you like to play. How many bag spaces do I have currently? 111. Because I have 1 horse upgrade. I don't know why I have that. And then I have all the bag space upgrades. Asari will be joining your stream. More Templars. Okay. That'll be interesting. Except I'll be sleeping. I heard it's beneficial to have 1 of each class in a farming group, like for passive group buffs. I think it's just like generic, like good group balance. I think also you would get all the group buffs, or you could potentially get all the group buffs. I think it just like brings you like the most group flexibility for like a 4-man group. If you fall from a high wall with your horse, you die. Your horse goes back in the bag. Your horse goes back in the bag that he came from. Unfortunately, horses. Well, I wouldn't say unfortunately because I'm an MMO player, but horses work like other MMO horses, where they just like, I have this bag of horses. Here's my horse. But you do get to name him though. So yeah, when you get knocked off or you dismount, he just kind of disappears. And then he, like, you whistle and he reappears. He's a magical horse. How quickly does the soul magic skill level? So the soul magic skill line levels with your main story progression. So if Soul Strike is the highest one, you won't be able to get that until, like, the last step of the main story quest. How do you get more bag space? There are vendors in every town that they're flagged as like a bag merchant. You'll be able to see them. They're like, their little shop icon is like a bag, like a sack, and those you can talk to someone there, and you'll be able to buy extra like bag slots from them. Do some weapon skills get a bonus from attacking while stealth, or is it only white attacks from weapons? It's melee skills. So, like, any Blood Craze and Searing Strike, I know for sure, can sneak attack, so it's melee skills, not just white attacks. How much stats would you approximately lose if you go heavy armor magicka base compared to light armor magicka base? Would you trade away a lot of survivability? I think you would gain a different type of survivability because you're trading away armor or spell resistance for armor to go more heavy. But you would lose a lot of magicka base flexibility because you would lose regen and spell cost reduction. But you would gain like extra healing received and like a bit of weapon damage. So. They go back in their horse Pokeball. Did you say you can name your horse? Yes, you can name your horses. When you go to the Stable Master, they also have an option of editing the name for your horse. Under what conditions does the Emperor change? Emperor changes hands as soon as someone else. A faction will lose their Emperor once that faction doesn't control any more. Like, it controls 0 of the Cyrodiil key. 0 of the center keeps, so the center 6 that are needed to cap an Emperor. If your faction doesn't control any of them, you lose your Emperorship, but there will be no Emperor available. A new one is crowned when a different faction, or like the same faction, like actually manages to retake the 6 keeps. Can spells like Mage's Fury, it depends whether, it's basically if it's a spell that has a target, it can be reflected. If it's If it's an AoE spell like Fire Breath, it can't be reflected. So Mage's Fury could be reflected, but Fire Breath can't be reflected because that's an AoE. Do you have legendary items? Drop or crafting? You can only get legendaries from crafting. I think the only legendary that I have on me is my mace and my shield are legendary items. If you're using Dragonfire Scale and an ally near you gets hit with a Crystal Blast, the AoE... I don't think it would reflect the AoE portion of Crystal Blast, as that's just kind of like incidental splash damage, the same way you can't reflect like any other kind of AoE. What about bow skills from stealth? Most of the, I think any of the single target bow skills will be able to sneak attack from stealth. So I know snipe works, and I know poison arrow works, which are the two single target ones. I don't know if the AoE ones work. I'd be surprised if they did. The monkey pet only given away from the one beta test. Yep, that is a unique monkey pet. Do I know any solid PvP focused Almeri guilds that are recruiting? I don't know if they're... I know a couple, but I don't know if they're recruiting, unfortunately. I wonder if Deathstroke gets the stealth bonus too. Deathstroke should get the stealth bonus because it's a melee. It's still a melee attack. I don't think that the sub bonus. Sub fee ain't fine with that. I think it's just they went a bit too far with the Imperial race. Cliffs are hard. In Europe, are there going to be servers by country, or are all your heroes in the same server? I don't actually know how they're going to set up the infrastructure for like the European mega server. Feels like melee stealthing someone is a AFK. People that like to stand still on a single piece of siege. Delicious targets. They're just like, I'm sitting here using my trebuchet. Pew! Pew! And they're just like standing there, not paying attention. You sneak up behind them, and you sneak attack them, and they die. Slamzilla, that is actually a base function now. You can ping the map for your group. I believe the button is you hold shift and click on the map, and it will put a group ping down. I think it's shift at least. You pay for add-ons, but not just to play the game? What? So you pay... That does... No, because when you're paying for like... That add-on would be like a patch, and then you'd be paying for like large patch content. That'd be fucking terrible. Because like... What the yeah. Basically, you look at like how DDO has all the content in DDO is like there's like a very little amount of it that's available for free, and then all of it you have to pay for, and it's like done into packs, and it's like you need to pay $6 for this stuff, you need to pay $10 for this pack, and it's it doesn't end well. I would much rather have a sub fee where I know that I'm going to be getting regular content on a almost monthly basis. They're aiming for 4 to 6 weeks. And I know that it's going to be, reliably high reliably high quality, high surface. They're going to, having their sub fee allows them to play for, good customer support and all that other stuff. It's not like, oh, they had a bad month on their free-to-play. They don't like a whole lot of people bought things that... We'll have to, like, change our hiring or anything. It's just sub feeds are a good, reliable way. And that's the main thing, is that it's reliable. Because when you don't really have to pay for extra content because it's going to be, you know, here's your patch, you pay a sub, here's your patch, you get this like extra zone, you get the Thieves Guild, that kind of stuff. You just get that. Whereas if, say, it was a free-to-play game, it's like, here's the Thieves Guild, pay $10. Yeah. As a Sorc will Mage Light plus Surge plus Overload Melt Space. If you ask any of our sorcerers, yes, Mage Light plus Surge plus Overload will melt faces. Yes, no MMO ever has good customer service. Yes, I did miss your question, Chesney. I was going to get it, and then I got distracted by people complaining about sub fees. Does tanking require lightning quick reflexes, or can a slower hand-eye coordinated individual with good foresight pull it off all? I think you'd be able to pull it off okay, but I think you would be taking a bit of extra damage just because of how blocking works. You probably wouldn't be able to like get every single attack reliably. But in terms of like actually just like doing, you know, basic things and controlling packs, I think you'd be fine. Visually stunning skill in the game. I don't know about stunning, but definitely the most visually impressive is Dragon Knight Leap. Because you just kind of sprout rings and leap at them, and it looks really cool, and it's fun to use. Minimap ping. Can I convince Benefactor to share his secrets? He should be sharing his secrets. But he's a jerk. Let's go pester him more. Think ESO has anything that would make it a good esports if campaign stakes solo? I don't think ZOS aims at having any like esports type things in Elder Scrolls Online. That's like not something they're aiming for. Which is perfectly fine because esports is like one of the big things right now, and it's just like, okay. It's just not a thing. I think the game will be fine without any sort of esport angle. How rare are they? Primitive reach stage motifs? They're pretty rare. I've found 2 or 3. How do you acquire gems? Are some more common than others? Is this random chance? It is It's equal gems. I'm assuming by gems you're referring to the trait materials, in which case it's random equal chance. As far as I'm aware, it's random equal chance. What happens if you want to go to the Imperial City now? How about just reach the... You can get to like the outside waterfront, but the water surrounding the Imperial City is filled with slaughterfish, and the bridges to get to the city are broken and are under attack by Daedra. Do legendary? I think they did just add in some like visual changes based on the quality of the item. I think they did just add some in, but I'm not sure. So it should, and I hope they do add some in because that'd be cool. Yes. Yeah, if you want to follow someone who plays the Sorc and Entry Rising and watch their Twitch TV, Nibling does do sorcerer stuff. I think he has like his sorcerer show, which I think is... I don't know how often he's doing his sorcerer show. It's not nearly as often as I do things. And he will be streaming Sorcerer in live, probably. Alright, there's that Altmer versus Dunmer question. Is Altmer's percent increased fire damage or Dark Elf's increased spell power better for Pyro Decay? What does spell power actually mean as a stat? Okay. So, Altmer affects all sources of fire, ice, and shock damage. So, and those will be increased by 6%, which is a decent amount. I mean, it's okay. It's the racial. It's whatever. It's good though. What spell power will do for you is any skill that has the fire descriptor, which is a lot of the Dragonite skills. And by fire descriptor, I mean it's not actually really obvious what that kind of stuff is. Anything that does fire damage, pretty much. If it says it does fire damage at some point in the skill, it's a fire skill, and those will get the additional spell power from that. How much it affects the damage of the skill, I don't actually know, because I think like every spell has its own gets its own portion of the spell damage that's available to you. I also don't know how much the Dark Elf gets at level 50. It could end up being really good, or it could end up being okay. When you destroy a piece of gear when you destroy a piece of gear with that trait, does the research unlock on it? Okay. I think I understand what you're saying. So how it works when you're doing research is you research per slot. So you'd say research medium armor chest, and you'd research say sturdy on medium armor chest, and you would have to sacrifice up a medium armor chest with sturdy that you have already in order to research it, and that process would consume the item. Well, do I die here? No, I don't, because I have a sorcerer who follows me. Yeah. So researching a trait on an item destroys the item, but it will only get you for that specific item style. So medium chest, yes, not just the trait for all medium armor. So for some crafts, it does take a long time to get everything. Will Entropy Rising be making an EU section? Nope. We have no plans on making a European branch. If you do play at odd times, however, though, you can... That is a lot of alliance points from that. Yeah, if you play at odd times, you can totally feel like applying. If you're, but right now we are only accepting extremely exceptional apps. By odd times, I think it's really early European. So. Alright, I have run out of questions. Bottom of the question chain. What add-ons am I using? In the video? I am using Basgrim's Toolbar, which has been now since we're rolled into Wicked's framework thingy. Yeah, Basgrim's Toolbar has been rolled into Wicked's framework thingy because Basgrim is no longer plans on playing Elder Scrolls Online. And which is at the bottom left, Unity Raid Frames, which is the frame in the I think this frame up here. That's Unity Raid Frames. And then I'm also using Foundry Tactical Combat, which is what gives me the nameplates and the scrolling combat text and the buffs. And then not pictured is Loot Summary. I think it's actually changed to I think they changed the name to Dragon Loot for whatever reason. And that just prints your when you have autoload on, it prints it to your chat and gives you goal tracking stats, which is really useful. All of the add-ons are available on ESO UI except for FTC, because FTC will be available on Tamriel Foundry before the next beta test. What's going on with the compass? The compass is broken. It's been broken since I reloaded my UI like 40 minutes ago. It's like reload UI and all the icons are stuck to my compass. Oh well. Is it possible to add extra hotbars? Nope. You have your main bar and you have your secondary bar, your weapon slot bar, and that's all the bars that you get. Yeah, I agree, Extremity. It's actually, yeah, five hotkeys plus 1 on ultimate, and then 2 bars because of your weapon switch. So I do feel like you really do have to, like, strategically pick your skills, and it's really cool. What is the scrolling text add-on called again? It's called FTC, Foundry Tactical Combat. It's not available anywhere right now, but it will be available on Tamriel Foundry before the next beta test, before the next weekend test. The beta currently is not live, so no, this is just recorded footage. People passing by cheering for Canada hockey. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm getting yellowed? What? Oh. Random wolf. Okay. What skills am I currently using on this Dragon Knight? Currently, well, I know all the skills that I have available. On my sword and shield bar, I have Fiery Chains, I have Defensive Stance, I have Burning Talons, Immovable, and Dragon Blood. And then Dragon Blood and Immovable and Burning Talons are copied over onto my Destruction Staff bar, but I also use Impulse and... Why do I forget what that last skill is? Why do I forget what that skill is? It's probably because I never use it. I forget what my third skill is. Oops. How often can you change Mindstone buffs? Whenever you feel like. In terms of ultimates, what I'm using on this? Yes, I am using the werewolf passives of this. I'm using the werewolf ultimate for the Blood Rage passive for increased ultimate gain, and then I'm using Dragon Knight standard. Did you miss the patch info? I went over what was leaked. I'm not actually going to talk about... Cinderstorm! Yes! Cinderstorm! Thank you! That is, yeah. Cinderstorm was the last one that I'm using. Oh god, I ended up like sitting here waiting for people to show. Oh no, not this time. Okay. Extremity, I would prefer if you just like PM'd me the if you just PM'd me the build on Tamriel Foundry. That way I can actually get back to it and have time to look over it. What roles do you see in AVA at the moment? Is it mostly AoE damage and few healers? At the moment, yes. I do think eventually it'll drift away from that, because right now people are still going to be... a lot of people are still going to be focused on, like, kind of how... The most recent similar thing would be, like, Guild Wars 2. So, people are used to, like, grouping up into, like, big groups. So AoE is going to be really useful. What is the spell reduction cap? That is something I need to double check, because I've seen conflicting things. People say it's 25%, but I think that's just like how much you can get from passives. I think the actual amount that you can get is much higher because you can get the static amount of cost reduction on jewelry. Are there any armor? No, none of the armor styles are alliance restricted. As long as you have as long as there's someone that has the motif book, which is a random drop, they know how to craft up that style, and you can get it. How's Magic Cost scale? How does Magic Cost scale? So you have around 1500 mana. How much would each spell cost as far as the mana in your whole as a whole? If I remember correctly, I can cast about like 6 to 8 things, probably about 10 things before going out of mana. If I'm just like spamming away. Are two-handed swords better looking that they give us in Skydown? I believe so. Why do we always play as girls? Because we do. It's just kind of something that's... I've done it for so long, it's just kind of a thing now. This was a good fight. It's like... Currently what people like to do is as soon as they break in the wall, they like to break in and go towards the nearest tower on the keep walls. And we just kind of ambush them as soon as they come into the hallway. And we clear out, like, 3 times our number. Yeah, yeah, it was. I think we're coming up on the end for today. I just wanted to make sure I got that good part of the footage in. Because that was a really good fight. I think it was like the best fight of the night, and then it just kind of like, people started going to bed and it got much... Oh yeah, what was the magic cost of spells at 50? It depends on the spell. Some spells are upwards of like 400, and some spells are hilariously cheap. So... I mean, like, for example, Searing Strike for the Dragon Knight is, like, hilariously cheap, but Dragon Blood is really expensive. Yeah, I don't record the comms because I'm going to be talking over them, and then I, like, just don't have the editing skills to break down the video. So yeah, I'm going to sign off right around now because I need to go to sleep. But Erlex will be, it is roughly about 8 times as much as the spell cost as level 1. I think that's what, I think that was what was posted on Elder Souls, and that seemed consistent. But yeah, I think Isohead has all of the correct cost values, it just has the wrong resource listed. So yeah. I'm going to sign off for today. I'm going to go to bed. But Erlex will be starting his stream, and he has Isari, the one of our moderators on Tamriel Foundry, and Benefactor, our Nightblade moderator, will be over there answering questions and stuff. What did I gain a skill point for? I gained an alliance rank. So Erlex just posted his stream in chat. I'll repost it for him. Yeah, I'll send you back a PM Extremity. Yeah. You can... Best place to get show updates is Twitter, is my Twitter. It's just twitter.com/Phasius. It's the best place to get show updates. It's what... where if I'm going to be late, or if, like, last night, Cyrodiil was really busy. I do upload all of the recordings of these to YouTube, to my YouTube, and it's youtube.com/Phasius. So, like, you miss one, because these are in the morning. I do... Hopefully... I'm probably not going to keep doing as many evening shows, because I need to get we have a bunch of stuff done that we still need to do for Tamriel Foundry for launch. But if you do want to know when these shows go live, if you want to be here live for questions, you can you can follow me here on Twitch, and that's great. What time do I do the evening streams? If I'm going to be doing them, it's 6 p.m. Pacific. I'm probably just gonna like cut down on evening streams. Maybe cut it down to like 3 or 4 a week instead of every day, because the evenings for me are like the best time for me to actually get like a lot of stuff done at one time. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I have fun just hanging out and talking to the Elder Scrolls Online community, I think. And just getting people more informed because of how tight they've been about a lot of things. Yeah. I'll see everyone maybe later tonight, if not... maybe later tonight, if not definitely for sure tomorrow morning. The morning show isn't going anywhere. I like where it is right now. It's just the evening show I'm a bit strapped on times. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I will see everyone later.